couple of years ago, I said to you, I couldn't believe the explosion of Turkish barbershops, just that most of them weren't Turkish. Most of them turned out, when I did some investigation, to be Albanian. But whatever, an exploding number of barbers on our high streets. And I asked you to email in, had you seen a big increase in barbers in your area? The results were astonishing. Hundreds of you got in touch to say our town had 2 barbers a year ago, now it's got 4 or 5 or 6. Well, the official figures are there are now 18,000 barbershops in the country, a 50% increase since 2018. And I have always thought, particularly as they only take cash, that probably they weren't cutting enough hair to justify the overheads of a shop, let alone anything else. So I've always had the feeling that it would be very useful as a front for money laundering, for drugs and much else. Doesn't mean they're all guilty of it, but something has to explain this huge increase. Well, I'm very pleased to say that GB News today went out on a raid. The Home Office have warned they intend to step up efforts to pursue crime gangs using high street businesses as fronts for their criminality. We were told of an explosion in a number of barbershops. Yes, we were told by you that that was the case, that are now being exploited by criminals to launder money and employ illegal immigrants. Today, GB News was given exclusive access on a raid in Oxford where the Minister for Illegal Immigration, Michael Tomlinson, joined enforcement officers targeting a barber's shop suspected of employing foreign nationals illegally. Our Home and Security Editor, Mark White, reports.
Heading into this suburb of Oxford, these immigration enforcement officers are en route to raid a local barber shop. It's suspected of employing illegal immigrants. Part of a growing phenomenon where these high street businesses are being increasingly exploited as fronts for criminality. These officers are looking for an Albanian asylum seeker who's absconded and believed to be working here. While there's no trace of him, they have detained this Colombian man, another asylum seeker working here in breach of employment laws. As officers continue to search this business, the Albanian owner arrived. He now faces the prospect of a much higher fine, with tougher penalties for businesses introduced this week of up to £45,000 for each immigrant caught working illegally.
Immigration enforcement raids are up by nearly 70% last year. That's a huge increase. And talking to the illegal enforcement team here, they've been ramping up in the West Midlands as well. You can really sense it. You can sense the work they're doing, and that work is going to continue.
Across the country, the number of barber shops has exploded, almost 18,000 in total, up 50% in just a few years. While most are perfectly legitimate and a valuable addition to the high street, sources have told us that increasing numbers of barber shops are fronts for criminality. Billions of pounds from the proceeds of crime are laundered through these businesses, which don't just employ illegal immigrants, but are often involved in modern slavery, coercing and threatening victims of human trafficking to work for little to nothing.
There is broader organised crime behind this. These sorts of premises do not pop up overnight without money behind them. And it's really important that we work with agencies such as National Crime Agency, such as policing, such as HMRC and other government departments, to ensure that the weight of all the government's powers is brought to bear on those who seek to exploit vulnerable individuals.
Nail bars and car washes have long been associated with criminal gangs, often employing and exploiting illegal immigrants. But sources say barber shops are rapidly overtaking them as a front for criminality. The authorities are keen to reiterate that the majority of barbers are legitimate and law-abiding, but they say they won't hesitate to go after those they suspect of breaking the law. Mark White, GB News.
Well, great package there from Mark White, great exclusive for GB News. And I have to say, this is what I've been suspecting and saying for the last 2 years. The whole thing, folks, is a racket. If you think I'm wrong on that, then please send me farage@gbnews.com and tell me why I am wrong. It is a racket on a huge scale. And if immigration services are going to step up raids, good, because they will find many, many more people who've come into Britain illegally, working in these shops, working in businesses. They will find money laundering, they will find drugs, and much else. Of that, I'm absolutely sure. As Mark said, most of them are thoroughly respectable, but what a good front and a good cover a cash business like that makes.